When safety becomes a limit. Sometimes, we treat safety as the final destination, a place where we can stop, rest, and no longer need to try. But have you ever wondered, when everything becomes too familiar, are we truly living, or just circling within our comfort zone? The comfort zone gives us peace, yet quietly limits what we might become. In that safe place, there are no mistakes, but there's no growth either. We keep walking the same path, forgetting the thrill of starting something new. Perhaps the scariest thing isn't failure. It's never daring to see who we could truly be. Tonight, let's take a small step together, out of the comfort zone. Not to become someone else, but to return to who we really are. Crescent Moon, don't just listen. Start with your own mindset. Subscribe and get your special gift. Ebook, Dare to Leave the Familiar. The comfort zone, where we feel safest. We all have a comfort zone, a place where everything feels calm and predictable. It might be a familiar job, a steady relationship, or simply the routines we repeat each day. There, we fear no failure, no loss, because everything is under control. Humans are wired to seek safety. It's how our brains protect us from pain. But sometimes, that protection quietly becomes a chain. We choose to stay inside the warm room, rather than open the door and face the vast world outside. The comfort zone isn't bad. It's a place to rest and recharge after long, exhausting journeys. But stay too long, and you'll forget what effort feels like. Forget the rush of your heartbeat when facing something new. Like a seed buried in soft soil, if it never pushes through, it will never know how high it can grow. The same goes for us. Only when we dare to touch the unknown do we truly grow. So take a moment, pause, and look around. Are you truly living, or just sitting still inside a box called safety? When certainty slows you down. Certainty makes us feel secure. Knowing what will happen, knowing exactly what to do, it's comforting, isn't it? Yet that same certainty, if it lasts too long, quietly steals away our growth. When everything is under control, we stop facing challenges. We choose smooth roads and lose our ability to adapt when life takes an unexpected turn. I once thought stability was the ultimate goal, until one day, I realized I had stopped moving forward. Every day looked the same, no mistakes, no stumbles, but nothing that made my heart race either. We often mistake peace for stillness. But true peace isn't standing still, it's knowing you're walking in the right direction. Even if the steps are slow or difficult, as long as they're meaningful. Sometimes, what holds us back isn't failure, it's being good enough. When you're safe enough, you forget what it feels like to reach just a little further. Life never waits for anyone. If you don't move forward, you slowly fall behind, not compared to others, but compared to the version of yourself you could have been tomorrow. The years I lived too safely. There was a time when I lived very safely. I woke up every morning to the same job, the same people, the same routines. Everything was fine, good enough, warm enough, peaceful enough. But that enough slowly started to feel empty. I remember those nights, looking back at my day and realizing there was nothing memorable. No big joy, no deep sadness, just quiet days passing by, smooth and still like a lake without ripples. When we stay too long in the comfort zone, we start confusing comfort with happiness. We think we're living well, but in truth, we're just drifting, no goal, no direction. Sometimes fear doesn't come from failure, but from losing the feeling of progress. When you stop learning, stop changing, that's when you truly stop living. Someone once said, if your life has been peaceful for too long, you might be going the wrong way. I didn't believe it, until I looked at myself and saw someone afraid of change. Simply because peace had become too comfortable. The comfort zone is a resting place, not a place to stay forever. Because if you linger too long, the world keeps moving forward, and you're the only one left behind. The decision to leave the familiar. One day, I realized I couldn't keep living like that. Not because my life was bad, but because I was slowly losing myself. Bit by bit, every morning, I woke up not with excitement, but with the thought, just continue what I left off yesterday. Sometimes, stability itself becomes a burden. It holds you back, whispering that, this is enough. Yet deep inside, there's always that quiet voice reminding you, there's more out there. I started asking myself, if I keep living like this, What will my life look like in 5 years? And the answer scared me. Not because it was bad, but because it looked exactly the same: no growth, no fall, just standing still in safety. So I made a decision to leave the familiar. I quit the job I had for years, not out of hatred, but out of curiosity, to see if there was another version of me waiting to be lived. The decision wasn't easy. I was scared, anxious, sleepless for nights, but amidst all that fear, a new feeling crept in: freedom. For the first time in years, I felt truly alive. And maybe that's what we often forget: freedom doesn't come from knowing where to go, but from daring to leave where you've been. Learning to walk a new path. When I left the familiar, I thought I would immediately find a new path. But I didn't. The first thing I met wasn't opportunity, it was emptiness. No schedules, no reminders, no sense of being okay. I stumbled, felt lost, and sometimes wanted to go back. But in those blurry days, I learned to walk again, like a child taking their first steps. Each mistake, each fall, taught me something new about who I really was. There were mornings when I didn't know where to start, nights when I wondered if I was lost. But slowly, small actions, writing a note, completing a tiny goal, reminded me that I was moving. On that journey, I realized that moving forward doesn't always mean being strong. Sometimes, it simply means standing up one more time, even while afraid. Those fragile moments are what make us resilient. Being lost isn't the scary part. The real fear is giving up on finding the way out, because it's in those lost days that we learn to trust our own steps. And little by little, I realized, you don't need to know the destination, you just need to keep walking. The path will reveal itself when you're patient enough to take another step. Daring to try, to see how strong you are. There's one thing I've learned through it all. We never truly know how strong we are until we dare to try. To step beyond the safety line, to face what we've never done before, and to accept the risk of failure. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the trembling step you take despite it. Every time you try something new, no matter how small, you're expanding your own boundaries. When I started trying things I'd never done before, I realized that fear only lived in my imagination. Once I began, things were never as terrifying as I thought. There were times I failed and felt foolish. But I learned that being foolish for trying is better than being foolish for never trying. Failure at least gives you an answer. Fear gives you nothing. With every attempt, you realize you're not as fragile as you thought. You start believing in your ability and understand that true strength doesn't lie in the outcome. It lies in the act of trying. Daring to try is the first step toward discovery. And once you're brave enough to try, you'll see, there are no real limits, except the ones you set yourself. Even in love, step out of the safe zone. Perhaps there's no stronger comfort zone in life than the comfort zone of love. Where we get used to someone, their words, their way of loving, even the pain they once caused us. We stay, not because we're happy, but because we're afraid to lose what feels familiar. We say, "I'm fine," when in truth, we're just afraid of loneliness, afraid of starting over. But love that stays inside the comfort zone slowly loses its spark. Because love, too, needs growth, challenge, and change. I once loved someone so deeply I thought I couldn't live without them. But when I dared to step away, I discovered I could live, and even live better than before. Stepping out of the comfort zone in love isn't about leaving someone else. It's about returning to yourself. It's daring to choose what you truly deserve, to love with a heart that knows its worth. If you're in a relationship that stops your growth, ask yourself, do I love this person? Or am I just clinging to safety? The answer may hurt, but sometimes, courage begins the moment you let go. Conclusion: the first step is the hardest, yet the most worthwhile. In the end, life doesn't ask how far you've gone, it asks whether you dared to take another step. Every step, no matter how small or shaky, is part of your growth. Don't fear the feeling of being lost. Being lost means you're still alive, still searching, still wanting to be better. Only those who stop moving are truly lost. Stepping out of your comfort zone isn't about proving something big, it's about understanding yourself deeper. To realize you are stronger, braver, and more deserving of your better self every day. Remember, you don't have to go far to grow. Sometimes, one step different from yesterday is enough to change your entire life. So, if you're hearing this on a quiet night, allow yourself to smile. You're on your way, and that alone is a miracle. Seedling, subscribe, download the ebook, dare to leave what's familiar, and share your thoughts. Remember, every step you take is a step toward growth. Light bulb.